Friends, how are you? Hope you are doing well. So let us start our new topic called ESG risk management. ESG risk management. We will see the details about the ESG risk management. We will first see the definition, purpose, objectives, goals, targets, and benefits of the ESG risk management topic actually. Now, what is the definition of ESG risk management? What is the definition? ESG risk management is a structured process for the identification, evaluation, and mitigation of the risks arising from ESG factors, arising from all ESG factors that could impact a company's operations, reputation, and financial performance. So, we are talking about a structured process in which we identify the risk, we evaluate the risk, and we mitigate the risk which is arising from different ESG factors. Now, next thing is, what is the purpose of applying the ESG risk management principles? The purpose of the ESG risk management is to integrate sustainability considerations into the corporate strategies and operations to foster the long-term value creation. Also, ESG risk management aims to address potential risks and opportunities associated with ESG issues proactively. Also, we enhance business resilience and sustainability. So that is the purpose. Now, next is, what is objective of ESG risk management? The primary objective of the ESG risk management is, first of all, to identify and to assess ESG risk that could affect the company's ability to meet its financial and non-financial objectives. Also, the secondary objective is develop strategies and actions to mitigate identified risks and capitalize on opportunities related to environmental stewardship, corporate social responsibility, and ethical governance. Now, next comes, what is the goal of ESG risk management? What are the goals of ESG risk management? Strengthening the environmental stewardship by reducing the environmental footprint, managing resource use efficiently, adapting to the climate related challenges. Also, next goal is enhancing social responsibility through fair labor practices, fostering inclusive workplaces, and engaging positively with communities and stakeholders. And then next goal is improving governance practices to ensure transparency, accountability, and ethical business conducts across all the levels of organizations and also in supply chain. Now, next comes, what are the targets of ESG risk management? ESG risk management targets involve setting specific objectives and measurable goals to achieve sustainability outcomes and meet the stakeholders' expectations. The examples of the targets it can include like achieving carbon neutrality or reducing greenhouse gas emissions by a certain percentage, increasing board diversity and independence, and also enhancing supply chain transparency and accountability. Now, next comes, what can be the benefits of ESG risk management? The benefits are including like enhanced reputation, brand values through responsible business practices, improved operational efficiency, cost savings, through the resource optimization. Also, we can say reduce regulatory and legal risk by complying with environmental and social regulations, strengthen stakeholders relationships as investors confidence. Then next benefit can be long-term business resilience and ability to navigate the market volatility and also societal changes. So by integrating ESG risk mitigation, risk management into business strategies, organizations can not only mitigate risks but also capitalize on opportunities to create value sustainably, driving competitive advantage and also long-term growth. Long-term growth. So now we will see certain examples of ESG related risks with respect to different ESG materiality topics and their risk explanation also. Now we will see the different ESG risk examples, okay, with respect to the different materiality topics, and let us start. First example is like climate change. So what can be the risk? For an example, physical risk. Okay. Now this risk is originating from extreme weather events, sea level rise, changing climate patterns affecting infrastructure, supply chain, operational continuity. So in this, what we are discussing in this ESG risk example, we see what is the relevant materiality topic, what is the associated risk, and then what is the risk explanation actually. Okay. The next example comes greenhouse gas emissions. Then the risk can be, let's say, suppose regulatory compliance, related to regulatory compliance. Then the risk explanation is risk associated with non-compliance with emission regulations can lead to the fines, penalties and regulatory actions. So this is the explanation of the risk. The next example comes like energy efficiency, the materiality topic. The risk example, operational efficiency, the risk from inefficient energy uses impacting operational cost, resource management and environmental footprint. Let's see from the social category, social dimension of ESG. The topic is, let's say, labor practices. In this, we see certain risks related to supply chain labor standards. So supply chain labor standards. Then what is the risk explanation? Risk associated with labor rights violation in supply chain leading to reputational damage, legal actions and operational disruptions. Similarly, we can take one more example of material topic called human rights. So in this, risk can be human rights violation. So risk from human rights abuses in operations or supply chain resulting in legal liabilities, consumer boycotts or stakeholders backlashes actually. Then we take example of the governance dimension of ESG. The risk example related to materiality topic of data privacy. Let's say privacy violation is the risk from inadequate data protection practices. So data privacy is the topic and data privacy violations can be the risk. So risk which is originating from inadequate data protection practices including breaches of customer privacy rights and non-compliance with data regulation. The next governance related material topic is, let's say, board diversity. In this, we take example of the risk, let's say, governance effectiveness. So risk from insufficient board diversity affecting decision making, governance oversight, and stakeholder perceptions of the inclusivity. Also, we can take example of one more governance related material topic like anti-competitive practices. Anti-competitive practices. Okay. In this, we see risk related to the regulatory compliance, like risk from engaging in anti-competitive practices such as monopolistic behavior or price fixing, resulting in legal actions and fines. Okay. So these were certain examples related to the risk, associated materiality topic, and then what is the risk associated with the particular materiality topic, and then the risk explanation. Okay. Now we will see the ESG risk categorization. ESG risk categorization. In this, we categorize the risk into, let's say, environmental risk, social risk, okay, operational risk, then legal risk, financial risk, then reputational risk, and market risk. So we will see examples related to each category of the risk here. Let's say, suppose for an example, environmental risk. The risk examples can be like carbon emissions, water scarcity, deforestation, waste management issues, environmental accidents, oil spills, like examples. So the risk related to environmental factors such as climate change, pollution, waste, resource depletion will come under environmental risk category. Then social risk, the risk associated with social issues including labor practices, human rights, and community relations. So here we can have risk examples like labor strike, human right violations in supply chain, community protests, product safety issues, employee relationship issues like discrimination and harassment issues. Then next come operational risk. In this operational risk, we talk about the risk which is originating from day-to-day operations impacting ESG factors, environmental social governance factors, like we see certain example like non-compliance with environmental regulations in the operations, workplace accidents, labor disputes, and executive misconduct and conflict of interest. Then in the legal risk category, we say risk stemming from non-compliance with the laws, regulations, and legal standards related to ESG factors. The risk examples related to the legal risk can be fines for violating pollution laws, legal actions for, let's say, labor law violations, or shareholder lawsuits for lack of transparency. Then comes financial risk. Financial risk which is arising from ESG factors like environmental social governance, risk impacting financial performance also. So cost of environmental remediation, financial penalties from legal labor disputes, loss of investors' confidence due to the governance related failures can be certain examples related to the financial risk. Then comes reputation. Risk affecting public's perception, brand value, and stakeholders' trust due to ESG issues will come under reputational risk category. The examples are negative media coverage of environmental incidents, public backlash from human rights abuses, reputational damage from we can say executive scandals. Then last one is market risk. This risk arising from market dynamics and investors' perceptions related to ESG performance. So changes in investors' sentiments towards the ESG factors, stock price volatility due to ESG disclosures, and also market valuation adjustment based on the ESG criteria. Then one more important risk category is stakeholders related risks. The risk associated with the management and engagement of the stakeholders in relation to ESG practices. So the examples can be like stakeholders dissatisfaction with the ESG policies, activist campaigns targeting ESG issues, loss of community support due to perceived ESG failure. So we have seen in this different categories, like first one, environmental risk, social risk, operational risk, legal risk, financial risk, reputational risk, market risk, and stakeholders related risk. So these are the different categories of the risk organizations can face. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about the ESG risk management techniques and strategies. So very important subject. Now this ESG risk management involve various techniques and strategies which are aiming at identification, assessment, mitigation, monitoring risks related to sustainability, social impact, and corporate governance. Here we are going to discuss certain key techniques which are used in ESG risk management subject. Now first one is, in the key techniques, the first one is risk assessment, and also we can say materiality analysis. So in this, what we do in this step or in this technique, we conduct comprehensive assessments to identify the ESG risks. Those are material to the organizations. Also, we prioritize the risk based on their potential impact on financial performance, reputation, and stakeholders relationship. The next comes integration into business strategy. In this, we embed ESG considerations into overall business strategy and decision making processes. Also, we align ESG goals with corporate objectives to enhance long-term sustainability and resilience. Then third step comes stakeholder engagement. In this technique, we actively engage with stakeholders, internal and external stakeholders, for example, employees, investors, customers, communities, regulators, etc., to understand their ESG expectations and concerns. Also, incorporating stakeholders' feedback into ESG strategies and in the reporting as well. Okay. Then fourth one is ESG related data collection and data matrices. Okay. In this, what we do, we see the implementation of the robust data collection processes to gather quantitative and qualitative ESG data, develop the ESG KPIs and metrics to measure ESG performance and tracking of the progress over time. Actually, the next step comes ESG reporting and disclosure. Here we implement the transparency, also ensure the transparency, enhance the transparency through regular ESG reporting and disclosure, adhering to frameworks such as GRI or SASB, Sustainability Accounting Standard Board, GRI, Global Reporting Initiative, to standardize reporting practices. The next comes environmental management system. One of the technique is environmental management system, where we implement ISO 14001 EMS to manage environmental risk and improves resource efficiencies, setting targets for reducing carbon emissions, water uses, and waste generations. Then comes number 7, social impact assessments. In this, technique, we conduct social impact assessments to identify and address risk related to the labor practices, human rights, community relations. Okay. Also implement programs to promote diversity, equity and inclusion within the organization. Then eighth one is, like we can say, governance practices and ethics. Here we strengthen the corporate governance practices, including the board independence and executive compensation alignment with the performance, and ensure the adherence to the ethical business practices or standards, code of conduct, anti-corruption policies. Then next comes scenario analysis and stress testing. This is also one of the important technique. Here we conduct scenario analysis and stress testing to assess the resilience of business operations to potential ESG risks such as climate change impact or regulatory changes. The next one is ESG due diligence, DD in merger and acquisition, M&A activities. So integrate ESG factors into due diligence processes for merger, acquisitions and partnership, also evaluating the ESG risk and opportunity to make informed investment decisions. Then next is continuous improvement and reviews. Okay, continuous improvement and reviews. Here we regularly review and update ESG policy, practices and risk management frameworks. Also we drive continuous improvement through feedback mechanism and lesson learned. Okay, so these techniques collectively aim to enhance organizational resilience, foster stakeholder trust and drive sustainable value creation in alignment with the ESG risk management principles. Implementing a comprehensive ESG risk management strategy involves integrating these techniques into the core operations and culture of the organization. Now we will discuss about the ESG risk management plan. Okay, so to develop an ESG risk management plan, which involves outlining strategies and actions to identify, assess, mitigate and monitor ESG related risks within an organization. Here we are going to discuss an structured approach, okay, to create an ESG risk management plan. So first step in this structured approach is define objectives and scope for ESG risk management plan. The objective is clearly define the goals of ESG risk management plan, such as enhancing sustainability, improving stakeholder relations or complying with regulatory requirements. And in the scope, we determine the scope of the plan, including which ESG factors, environmental, social governance and which aspects of organization, operations, supply chain, governance structure will be covered in this scope. The next comes identification of ESG risks. Identify ESG related risks. There are three dimensions: environmental, social and governance related risks. Identify environmental risk, like example related to the climate change, resource depletion, pollution, waste, energy. Social risk, identification of the risk related to the social dimension is like labor practices related risk, human rights related risk, community relations related risk. In the governance side, we can say risk related to the board structure, executive compensation and transparency. Then third one is risk assessment and materiality analysis. Okay, In this step, we conduct a thorough risk assessment to prioritize all the ESG risks, okay, which are based on their potential impact and likelihood of the occurrence, and also perform materiality analysis to perform identification of the risk those are most significant to the organization's operations, strategies, and stakeholders. Then fourth one is risk mitigation strategies. Risk mitigation strategy. So for environmental, social, governance related risk, we need to apply different strategies. For an example, implement strategies to reduce carbon footprint, enhance resource efficiency, manage environmental impacts. For social, we can say develop the policies, practices related to the promotion of fair labor practices, diversity and inclusion, community engagement. For governance, we can say strengthen corporate governance practices, enhance transparency, and mitigate the risk related to the ethics and compliance. The next step comes monitoring and control measures. Okay, we establish monitoring mechanism to track ESG performance indicators and key risk matrices. Also, we implement the control measures to address identified risks and ensure compliance with the ESG policies and regulation. Then next comes 6 number, stakeholder engagements, and also very importantly communication. So here we say engage with internal and external stakeholders to understand their expectations, also the concerns regarding ESG issues. Also, we communicate ESG initiatives, performance, progress, achievements transparently through regular reporting and disclosure. Then next comes integration into business strategy. So we integrate ESG consideration into overall business strategy, decision making process, and performance evaluation criteria. Also, we align ESG goals with corporate objectives to drive sustainable value creation and long term business resilience. The next comes training and capacity building. In this step, we provide training and capacity building programs to enhance awareness and competency among employees regarding ESG risks and responsibilities. Also, we foster a culture of ESG awareness and accountability across the organization. Then next comes review and continuous improvement programs. We conduct regular reviews and evaluations of the ESG risk management plan to assess effectiveness, identify areas for improvement, and adapt to evolving risks and stakeholders' expectations, and also implement feedback mechanism and lesson learned from incidents or audits to drive continuous improvement. Then next comes number 10, compliance and reporting. Okay, in this we ensure compliance with relevant ESG regulations, standards, and reporting frameworks like GRIs, SB, TCFD, and etc. And also we prepare and submit ESG reports and disclosures in a timely and transparent manner to the stakeholders. So this ESG risk management plan, or we should say effective risk management plan, not only mitigate risks but also enhances organizational resilience, reputation, and stakeholder trust. So by integrating ESG considerations into core business practices and fostering a culture of sustainability, organizations can achieve sustainable growth and contribute positively to the society and the environment. Thank you very much, friends. Let us discuss the ESG risk management part 2